Hello everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today. It's a beautiful day in Kansas. I am wearing the Eureka top that was a variation that we introduced last December for the So Confident members. I'm going to talk about it later, but I am wearing this without anything under it because it's such a beautiful day. I could have worn a long sleeve shirt, t-shirt, whatever, but I'm feeling like summer's going away and I don't want it to yet. So I'm feeling like summer. Eureka top, Hudson pants, that's my ensemble for the day. We are in the September project for So Confident. We're using the Florence Shirt pattern and making a classic Florence shirt. Shortening it, taking out that iconic tuck across the front, leaving the collar and stand, but we're using some interesting fabrics to make it into really just a great shirt. It could even be in white cotton or white linen or something like white silk, whatever. But we've chosen some beautiful prints. We still have a few kits left in this lake something or other fabric, lake something, doesn't matter. It has the word lake in it. And we're trimming it with a contrast down the front for the under collar and the stand, the under cuff, and a little strip across the back at the bottom of the yoke. We have a few kits of this fabric left. We also have this fabric, which is trimmed in this fabric. So this is like a Bargello pattern. This is a rayon challis. This is a cotton. It's a great combo. So check that out. We still have some kits left. And you can sign up for the monthly class, Florence Classic Shirt. Well, I dug in my stash again and found a piece of fabric that I happen to love. I'm asking myself why I'm selling it, but I am. I think Erin's going to grab it. I know, I forgot to show it to you.
That's why that was there?
Right, so here it is. And I forgot to measure this. Oh my gosh, how could I have done that? Let's see. We have about 1, 2, maybe 3 yards. Looks like it's 45 inches wide. I honestly don't know what this is. I tried burning it yesterday, and it is a natural fiber. It could be wool, it could be rayon, it could be a combination. I am not sure. It feels, I mean, it has the texture of wool crepe, but I'm not sure it's all wool. Anyway, I don't know how long I've had it. I don't know where I got it, but it's pretty cool, I have to say. So I also forgot to figure out how much I was going to charge for this, so I have to make this up right now. I'm going to charge $50 for this piece, and anyone who emails me, linda@sewingworkshop.com, the very first person who emails me gets this. We will send you a PayPal invoice, free shipping in the United States. So there you go. If you like it, it's yours. If I do this, find a piece of fabric every week, I'll be here for the next 10 years. So there's a lot of fabric to look through. Kathy Davis and I have all kinds of remnants and pieces that we've bought over the years in our travels and wherever. And so it's funny, we have these fabrics here in big bins, and every time I pull something out, Kathy goes, "Oh, I think I want that." And you know, she hasn't looked at it in 5 years or whatever, so we always have this little to and fro about, where'd that come from? Is that yours? Is that mine? It doesn't matter. She doesn't care either. We're selling it. All right, so I want to remind you about our Cleveland class, which is coming up in November 7th through 11th, and it's a knit workshop. For 3 days and 1 evening. And it's in a beautiful venue, lots of space, lots of light, machines provided if needed, or you can bring your own. But we'll be primarily working on fitting and constructing a t-shirt and the Helix pants, ET and Helix pants. We have had some questions from people. Can they make something else in a knit? Sure. In fact, one of the things you might consider making is a Crane Street tee, which is a very interesting t-shirt, more of a sweatshirt sort of look, although it does not have to be made in a sweatshirt type fabric. And you can see that this one has some hand embroidery on it. So you're with the right person if you come to Cleveland in November. Alex Woodbury, who designed this particular motif, has just been featured in Threads magazine, an article called Hand Embroidery on Knits. So if you subscribe to Threads, which I hope you do, the fall 2023 issue has a nice article written by Alex, our Alex, and it tells you all about what you need, the materials you need, and the process of actually designing and sewing by hand on knits. And then there is a web extra. You scan the code and you get the face and the flower design from Threads magazine, which is pretty cool. So check that out. These are original designs by Alex, and I'm just really proud of her for doing this and showing up in Threads magazine. But you could come to Cleveland in November, and she would help you design something or provide something that she's already designed for you, and you could embroider and have some fun. Okay, November 7th through 11th, Cleveland, Ohio. The other event that we have, of course, is the Alabama Chanin event here in Topeka, and that is October 12th. Natalie Chanin of Alabama Chanin is coming to Topeka the evening of October 12th. She has a new book. She'll be talking about the new book, signing books. There's shipping in books for us to look at and buy, I'm sure. And she's doing a trunk show, and I'll be doing a little bit of conversation with her as well. It's a pretty festive evening. We're having it at the Cyrus Hotel, which is a really beautiful hotel in downtown Topeka. We're having things to eat and drink and a good social hour as well. And we invite you to come. It's $50, includes the fee to see Natalie, and of course, it includes whatever you imbibe in. We are looking into the possibility of live streaming the event, and we think that's a pretty good possibility. We know that some of you live far away, wouldn't travel to Topeka for one evening, but you want to hear and see what she has to say. And so if we do that, there'll be a product on our website that you can sign up to be able to view it as it's going on. So watch for that. We'll make a firm announcement about that as soon as we wrap up the details on that. All right. So today's topic came about because my friend Linda D'Amato from New York was here at a Sew Kansas, not this last one, but the one before that. And she was talking about her Eureka top. I'm wrong about that. She wasn't here. She's coming in October. Got that all mixed up. We were online together. She has put together a group of friends who she's met over the years at various workshops, and they meet once a month via Zoom. Yeah, now I've got the story straight. And in the course of being part of that group occasionally, she talked about a Eureka top made in a woven fabric. So the Eureka top, just to review what it looks like, is this. Fairly short, swingy, boxy, rolled up sleeve, ready to wear neck binding, simple t-shirt. She decided to make it in a woven. And to take this story even further, we introduced a variation of the Eureka top last December, which was available to Sew Confident members if people signed up at a certain time frame. And so it was exclusive to Sew Confident members. We've now decided to open that up as a tutorial that you can purchase. And basically what you end up with is this that I have on. It's a Eureka top that has a seam, where is it? Over here, and a hidden pocket, and a hemline that's a little bit longer in the back than the front with a side slit and some top stitching details to it. And it included all of the pattern work that needed to happen, which is not really very much. It includes a pocket template. It includes full instructions on how to construct this garment. And so that was something that she had because she's a member of So Confident. And she took that and made it in a woven and made it long sleeve. So here's what happened. I think this is fantastic. The Eureka top is generally considered something you would make in a knit, but we've made it in wovens. We've made it in silks, lightweight denim, chambray, that sort of thing, linen, whatever. And this is a waffle weave cotton woven fabric. It's not a knit. So you can see that she has the seam here and the hidden pocket, but she's added a long sleeve, and it's a little more cut in here, and the sleeve is nicely narrowed from what you might generally do. So the whole arm's eye has been closed up a little bit. So speaking of pockets, I don't know how this works, but yesterday I'm thinking about what I'm going to say today, and I'm thinking about the pocket and the pocket template in this. And then I am in my email and I get something from the New Yorker magazine yesterday, an article on what's in your pockets. This is a really cool article that you should check out. It's online, the New Yorker magazine, newyorker.com. newyorker.com/magazine. And the article was written on the 18th, which is not very long ago. And I can't pronounce the name of the person who wrote the article, but it is a really fun article to read. So, pockets have only been around for 500 years. Before that, it was pouches and hidden things under clothes, and people carried things, but you didn't know what they were carrying. So pockets kind of came out of the woodwork, so to speak, but for men only. And so this article has issues about why men got pockets first and the power of all of that. They didn't think that women needed pockets because they didn't own anything. Men's pockets were bigger, women's were smaller. Men's pockets were on the exterior, women's pockets were on the interior. So pockets were something that was to hold something. And now we've moved into pockets are just cool because of the shape or where they're placed, and designers just do interesting things with pockets. So, it's the evolution of pockets that reflect attitudes about privacy and decorum, gender and power, and what it means to be cool. So I suggest you read it because it's a very, very, very fun article on pockets. So this idea actually came from a style that I saw when we were in Bath, England. Walked into a store, here was a little vest sort of thing in a sweatshirt type fabric, and it had a pocket in it. I thought, oh, we can do that to the Eureka. So I came home and produced this. But let's talk about what's happening here in the woven. So she used the basic instructions from the tutorial, which is about a 16-page, now it's about an 18 or 19-page tutorial because we've added a couple things. So she's included this seam, and here's the hidden pocket. You could have two seams, you could have two pockets, you could have seams without pockets, whatever. But this is, I think, a nice detail to have, and the top stitching of the pocket is as a nice detail as well. So that's that part of the tutorial that was introduced as part of So Confident and is now available to you all. But this part of adding a sleeve and closing up this arm's eye is something different entirely. And originally we had, you needed to go to the blog, and in that blog you go to Eureka Top on the side bar, and you click on that and scroll maybe one or two subjects, and the Eureka long sleeve Eureka comes up. And there it shows you how to take a template that's a particular curve and place it on the side seam of the garment and reshape that and close it up. And then there is a pattern for the sleeve that you can download and attaches nicely. Well, that's on the blog and it's still there, and you can still access the information about that on the blog. But we have added this sleeve and this process of using the curved template to reshape this to the tutorial. So that's full-on tutorial of how to create this seam, how to create the pocket. There's a template in the tutorial, how to reshape the arm's eye and the sleeve, and the curved template is in there. So everything is in there. And then, of course, a whole step-by-step of how to make this garment. So if you're interested in that, that tutorial is now $35. And it's a wonderful tutorial. I think you can make this in so many things. She made it in this waffle. Now, when she was here, we had this waffle fabric. Linda was here, I don't remember when, but I remember sometimes when people come to Sew Kansas, they want their fabric washed. And I'll go home the first evening with a few pieces of fabric to wash for people so that they can begin to sew on them the next day. So I took her fabric home, I don't think it was for her actually, but at any rate, I took this piece of waffle fabric home, and I took home a couple of other pieces, and lazy me, I threw this waffle weave into the washing machine with some green fabric. And so what came out was a slightly tinted greenish fabric, which I didn't feel like we could sell because it wasn't quite the original color. And so Linda D'Amato was kind enough to pay me for this off-white fabric. And she went away and then came back, and on the Zoom call showed me this. So it shows you what can happen. So it reminded me that since this is all cotton, this waffle weave fabric, that you could dye it. So here are two pieces of the same fabric dyed. One in this marigold, it's Rit dye, marigold, and I've forgotten what this other color is. It's something violet or whatever. But aren't those beautiful? And the other thing that happens, not only when you dye, but just wash the plain fabric, is the texture changes. And it softens, and hopefully you can pick up on the fact that this has more dimension in the texture than this. Does that show up on the screen at all or not?
It's definitely more defined in the garment.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So this is softer, very comfortable to wear, and more textured. So this has a different kind of drape than this does. So it's going to shrink a little bit because the weave is going to get a little bit smaller. You know, instead of 1/4 inch little squares of the waffle, we have slightly less than 1/4 inch. But I think it's very cool what happens. And then the idea of being able to dye it, because it's all cotton, is fantastic. And I asked Deb how she did it. She put it in the sink with warm water. Of course, it was not a huge amount of fabric. If you're doing like 5 yards of it, then you're probably going to use your washing machine. But on the instructions of the Rit dye, you can do it a stove method, a sink method, or a washing machine method. But warm water, some salt, and you stir it sort of off and on for about 30 minutes, and you're good to go. So I just think these are just fantastic, and the possibilities are pretty endless when you can think about dyeing any fabric. I had never dyed anything in my whole life, but I may head to the Rit department at the grocery store very soon, because I think this is really cool. So let's talk about this fabric a little bit. Are there any questions? Do we need to take some questions, or are we okay?
Let's see. What is the yardage for the long sleeve?
The yardage is 2 yards.
Okay. As a So Confident series member, will we have access to the long sleeve tutorial as an addendum, perhaps? So that is still on the blog. So you can get the long sleeve information on the blog.
Right.
Can we see the back of your Eureka?
The back of my shirt?
Correct.
Okay.
I'm going to have to change the camera a bit.
Okay. We have a new system, so we're not as mobile as we used to be. No seams, fairly plain. This is in a fleece, which I love, and we have some new fleeces in that are fantastic. We haven't featured them on Facebook Live or the live streaming yet, but we do have some beautiful fleeces that you should check out. Lots of fabrics are rolling in right now. We have new prints, new solids, everything. It's fun time. The fall is here, so we're gearing up.
Do you make the same size in the woven as you would in the knit?
Well, I think so. The Eureka top is a very oversized garment, and I think you can, unless you're already making the Eureka top very, very small for you, then no. But if if you're making a medium, let's say in a regular knit, I think you can make a medium in this. It's generous enough that you can do that.
How do you adjust the Eureka for a large bust?
We have a method in our fitting book of adding bust fullness without a dart, which is what I would take a look at. And then you could add a bust dart if you need to. I think it's either way. I generally, if you can get away with not having a bust dart, I think the lines are better for this, and just doing the bust fullness adjustment without a dart. But that's in both our fitting book and our encyclopedia.
Can we see what the pocket looks like on the inside?
I don't know if you can see this or not. It's just one piece, basically, and it is serged around the edges, and when it's top stitched, you're catching it.
Okay.
I'm so glad that Linda D'Amato managed to finish. I hadn't looked on the inside. It's beautifully finished.
What has she done to the neck? Is there something different about the woven top and yours?
The difference is, and she didn't do it, she's cut this on the straight. I can't tell you whether she cut it on the lengthwise or the crosswise, probably the crosswise, but I don't really know. Generally, when you are using a knit for the binding, you are using it on the cross grain because that's the stretchiest part of a knit. And when you're cutting the same binding on a woven, you would cut it on the bias. But I can tell she didn't do that. This is on the straight and it looks great. I do think that this is a nice detail of the top stitching, which she's kept a good distance away from the well of the seam, about 1/4 of an inch. And I think that looks better than if you had stitched it closer. So that's about the only thing that's different. You have to think about direction, whether you're going to cut it on the bias, cut it on the straight, but the process of installing it is absolutely the same.
Okay, no more questions.
Okay, so let's look at some combos. I decided that, we have 3 colors of the waffle weave. We have the steel gray, the natural, and black. And I just thought it would be beautiful to think about tonal combinations. So let's look at a couple of other garments that you might think about making aside from the Eureka, either like this or the long sleeve version. So here is a crossroads jacket that is a color that we no longer have, but you can see it's the same weave, same fabric. And the crossroads jacket normally has some seams that separate it into segments. Those have been eliminated. I just taped the pieces together so it's one solid piece in the front and the back. And the collar generally has one square end and one tapered. I tapered both ends. So there's a couple of little variations to this, but it makes a nice jacket. I call it a little jacket. And speaking of little jackets, this isn't the same waffle, but certainly is similar in feel. This is the Now shirt as a jacket. And you can see that, boy, I love a little black jacket. It's amazing what you can wear it over. You can wear it dressy, you can wear it with denim. jeans, you know, daytime, whatever. I don't think you can live without a little black jacket in your wardrobe, in your closet. This one has been bound in knit, a knit jersey, but it could be in this waffle knit and be perfect. I actually have a sterling jacket at home, and then here is one here. And I think this is a great weight of fabric for the sterling jacket or any jacket. So the Crossroads, the Now, or the sterling, I think in this fabric it's perfect. The sterling is an interesting garment because it does have rolled hem edges all over it. So there's nothing turned under. You could do it in a traditional way, but we like the way this has been finished with just the serging, rolled hem serging. We have some kits for this. We have a natural kit, and we have a gray kit. We could make up a black one if you choose to, but what you get in the kit is 4 spools of thread and buttons and enough fabric to make the sterling jacket, or probably any jacket actually. So think about the kits. And again, if you're interested in a black kit or you need buttons for any color of whichever one it is, let us know. We'll be sure and include thread and buttons and whatever. So we can do that for you. But back to this. If you need something to wear under a jacket, think about an ET, a simple t-shirt that could be, let's say for the black, in this nice deep heather gray knit. This is polyester and spandex. This is like, you know, the perfect fabric that never wrinkles. It's wonderful. It's a little bit weighty, not too heavy, but just fantastic for a t-shirt. Black linen for pants goes well with this. In the light group, you have linen for the pants. This is a very, very, very fine rib knit. So it has a lot of stretch to it, but I know you can't see the texture on the screen, but it does have a little bit of a fine rib to it. Would make a great, great t-shirt. So I like the tonal aspects of this. We go tonal over here as well. This is an interesting fabric. This is, it's so interesting I can't find the tag.
It's at the top, near the hook.
Ah, thank you. All right, so this is a stretch woven, nylon viscose, and spandex. So it is a woven that has stretch. Now, notice it has the vertical stretch. So if you were going to make pants, you'd want to cut the pants out on the cross grain so that the most stretch would go around you. You have to pay attention to that. But boy, what great pants this would make. This would make skinny pants, wide leg pants, anything. I can't think of a style it wouldn't work for. And it's just that perfect color. It does have a little bit of a twill weave, so to me it's a bit casual, which is great. Go a little bit darker for the t-shirt. In a jersey, this is rayon jersey, and then you have the gray waffle for the jacket. So those are the selections today.
Is the jacket lined?
No, none of these jackets are lined. They could be. They could be underlined or lined. I think it depends on what your purpose is, but no, none of these, whoops, none of these are lined. So it's just been finished with 3-thread serging on the inside. Same way for this one, I'm sure. Betsy made this one. So actually she's used pinking shears. And this one, serging. So no lining, no underlining. If I were going to want to beef up this fabric, I would consider underlining something like, with something like handkerchief linen, organza, batiste, or regular Bemberg lining. You could line or underline, either one.
Could you use a knit binding on a woven top?
Absolutely. Knit bindings are beautiful. I love knit bindings because you can manipulate them so well. They mold, they curve, they shape, and you don't have to fuss with them like you do bias strips. They're easier to work with. And you can do, we have a technique in our Chateau coat pattern that's very unique, where you have a narrow binding on the face of the garment and a wider portion on the underside of the garment, all one piece. It's really an interesting binding, and that's in knit.
Okay.
Is that it?
I don't see any other questions.
All right. All right, well, remember our events coming up. Remember that you can sign up for So Confident by the month. And the sale prices this week are, all of these fabrics are on sale, all 9 of them. The patterns that are on sale are the Eureka top, which is download, digital only. And remember, we can print for you. There's a printing option on every pattern, and that's easy if you don't want to do it yourself or send it to another service. The Sterling jacket is both printed and digital. Am I right about that?
Yes, that's correct.
I tell you, I'm behind on what we have. And Crossroads is digital only.
Correct.
Yes, those 3 patterns are on sale. And then remember that you can get these 20-page, whatever it is now, tutorial on how to do this variation of the Eureka and the long sleeve and all the templates and patterns and all of that for $35. So.
A few other questions here.
Okay.
Will there be kits or fabric choices for the Cleveland event?
Yes, we will be sending out some materials list of what you'll need, and we'll have kits for the Helix pants, and we'll have kits for the ETs, or you can bring your own fabric as well. We'll be communicating with you about that soon.
And what So Confident series is the Waffle tutorial?
The Waffle tutorial is series 11.
So assuming they're meaning the Sterling jacket.
Yes, the Sterling jacket project was January of 2022, series 11. Yes, that gives you the whole how to do the roll hemming, the how to make it, we make it, yes, start to finish, how to make the garment, yeah.
Right. Okay.
Okay, thank you so much. You're going to see more next week about embroidering on knits, since Alex's article is in Threads, so you'll see a little bit more about that, and hope to see you then.